Good afternoon, my fellow friends and YouTubers. This is Kurt, and welcome back to the Kurt's Place channel here on the YouTube. Well, guys, I'm now getting ready now to get on board the ferry right now to go over to Cape May, New Jersey. We're actually in Lewes, Delaware, and we're going to board the ferry to go over to Cape May, New Jersey. I'm just going to show you how they actually load us on here. Now, you're going to notice that each of these spaces has a number on it. Each of these lanes, I mean, like there's a 15 in front here. What they do is they pre-stage all the ferries ahead of time, based on how they're going to load them. And then what you do is you wait for the person that's actually in front there. He's actually going to guide me when he wants me to go ahead and proceed onto the ferry. And they actually have it designed so that the weight and everything has already been balanced out in the beginning. So that's one of the reasons why you just have to wait for them to assign it. What they're doing to assign when they're ready for me to get on. Now what they're going to do is they're going to unload all the cars first. Now these are all the cars that are coming from Cape May, New Jersey. They're going to unload them first. And once they're unloaded, then we'll load onto the ferry next. Once they have that unloaded, then we'll get on next. And this is just going to go ahead and show you how they actually go about loading us on. Now, you're going to notice there's just gentlemen that have yellow outfits up front there. Now, those are called the load masters. They actually tell you when to get on, and they'll guide you onto the boat. And then when you get on the boat, they'll also tell you what row to go in to keep everything nicely balanced. Now, somebody had a question asking me about, when you're taking your car on the ferry, do you have to book your ferry in advance? Yes. The answer to that is yes. It's very advisable. If you're taking your car on the ferry, especially if you're going in June, July, and August when the ferry is very popular, go ahead and book your ferry trip ahead of time, because that way, by having that way you're sure you get a seat on the ferry. Because what can happen is if they're booked up, you can get here, and if you don't have a reservation, they might say, well, we can't get you on this ferry, we can get you on the next one. And if they don't have any more available after that, or if they don't have any more spots available on the other ferries, then you have to go around, and you don't want to have to do that. So my advice is go ahead and make sure when you that when you do the ferry that you have your reservations in advance, and that way you don't have any problems. Now, if you're a foot passenger, as you're going to see, there's people there coming in by foot. That's not so difficult. Normally you don't have any problem with those. Only if you have a car normally do you have a problem. But you can if you just want to take the ferry over just want to take a round trip on the ferry walking, you can do that as well. My mom and I used to go to Cape May, New Jersey. When we were in Lansing, we would park at Cape May, New Jersey, park the car there in the parking lot, then do a round trip. It's an hour and a half each way, basically 3-hour trip for like $17, $18 a piece, and we would do a round trip on the ferry from Cape May, New Jersey to Lewes, Delaware, and then back to Cape May, New Jersey again, and then drive home from Cape May. And that was really great. Now, we didn't actually have our car, but my mom and I always enjoyed that. Now, if you want to check out that video, just look on my channel under Cape May, New Jersey Ferry. You can actually see the trip that my mom and I took while she was alive on the Cape May, Lewes, Delaware Ferry. And that was one of the things that we always enjoy doing, is actually driving on the ferry. Very, very good. Very, very good stuff, guys. Great, too. And I also wanted to take this time, by the way, too. I also wanted to thank you all, by the way, and also for tuning into the Kurt's Place channel as well. And I also want to mention, too, that if you have any questions about how the Lewes Delaware Ferry operates, I do have a couple videos on my channel as well. You also can go to Google. If you go to Google, you can type in Lewes, just type in Lewes Delaware Ferry, and that'll tell you everything that you need to know. Now, see, he's going to guide me on. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they actually had to put me on the side because I decided to wait one ferry. So, thank you guys, appreciate it. Go right.
That Impala.
Okay.
And then behind him, there's going to be a blue CRV.
Okay.
You're after him.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. So they went ahead now and they guided me now. So they already told me where to go now. And that's the thing, guys. When the ferry loads, you have to get on the ferry. You have to be out of your car 30 minutes before the ferry loads, because that's when they actually want you to be in your car ready to load onto the ferry. So now you get a little bit better idea on how the ferry works. Now, basically, if you're going from Cape May, New Jersey to Lewes, Delaware, it's the same process. It's just in the other terminal. Now, I also want to mention too, one thing that was really cool was I actually went ahead and I had some food here on the Lewes, Delaware side. They have a really, really nice restaurant called Grain on the Rocks. Really, really great restaurant. I actually had, I went ahead and actually had the nachos and everything. And guys, I gotta tell you, those are the best nachos I ever had. Really, really great stuff. If you have enough time between your ferry, I usually like to allow 2 hours between when my ferry arrives and when I get here. That'll give you time to get your car parked. You can go ahead and get something to eat, and that way, when you get on the ferry, when you're done eating, you can freshen up in the restroom, and then go ahead and get on the ferry, and it'll leave you nice and fresh for your trip. Pretty cool, huh, guys? And occasionally, you know, they do security. Occasionally, there will be security you know, sometimes security also will walk. Security sometimes will walk around. Occasionally, they'll do inspections. They do little inspections, just to, you know, just to ask how you're doing. You know, making sure you don't have anything you're not supposed to have when you're on the ferry too. And that's the thing. The ferry is usually pretty good about allowing most things on here. They even allow big vehicles on here, like 18-wheelers and trucks and campers and everything on here. They allow them too, and of course, the bigger vehicle you have, the more it's going to cost. Now, my ticket on the ferry today cost me $45 for my ferry today. That's how much I actually paid to get on the ferry today. Now, when you get on the actual ferry itself, once I enter the ramp here to go on the ferry, after I enter the ramp to get on the ferry, then they're going to have somebody that's going to guide me into the road that I actually parked to on the ferry. If I remember correctly, there's 6 rows of cars on the ferry, 2 in the middle, 2 on the outside, 2 in the middle, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. They'll actually guide you what road to go into. Now, what they're doing is the load masters are actually balancing out the ferry with the weight. So you'll know, that's one of the reasons why it's really important when you load on the ferry that you pay attention where they're actually pointing. And then also they'll tell you how close to get to the car in front of you as well. So you'll see it's a pretty simple process, but it's also kind of a neat video too, kind of a fun thing to see too. Now you're going to notice that the foot passengers and stuff, they actually board through a ramp that goes up on top there. There's almost like an airplane catwalk. That's actually where the actual passengers themselves actually board the ferry. Now they're going to actually, once he has all the cars out, then they'll start loading us on. Now he already told me that I'm going to be behind an Impala. Now because I skipped one ferry, I decided to take a later ferry. They had to reposition me a little bit in line, and that worked out just fine. So he already told me where to go, so that's what we're going to do. And guys, I also want to mention too, if you want to help share your support for the Kurt's Place channel, I do have merchandise now available as well. If you want to check out my, if you want to help share your support for the Kurt's Place channel, there's a link to the Kurt's Place merchandise store in the video description down below. I have things such as hats, keychains, and other things on there as well, bags and other things on that side as well. If you want to feel free, go ahead to share your support for the Kurt's Place channel. All right, guys, so we'll go and begin it. We go and get boarding here shortly. As soon as these cars go on here, then we'll go ahead and load next. Now the actual times that the ferry runs, typically the ferry, I think the last ferry leaving Lewes is 7 or 9, I believe it is, from this port going over to Lewes, from Lewes, Delaware to Cape May. I believe that's when the last one goes. But you just go to lewesferry.com on Google, and you can find out all the loading times and everything based on the day that you're going. They'll have all the traveling times and everything when you can get on the ferry. Thank you, guys. Yes, see, so he actually got me on. Now we're actually going to get on. See, guys, here's where we get on. They have a little ramp then that goes in here. Now, clearance-wise, I don't normally have any trouble. Vehicles occasionally will bottom out a little on this ramp. I don't normally have any problem because my car doesn't sit that low, but just keep that in mind as well. So there we go. See, now he's going to guide me now where to go. Now he'll actually point to me where to go. See, he's telling me to go all the way over here, so we're actually going to go over here. Now you see it holds a lot of cars. It's a pretty big ferry. It holds a lot of cars. Now he's going to tell me where to go when I get up there. You just have to pay attention to what the guy's telling you. He'll actually tell you where to go. All good? All right. So there you go, guys. So that's how you get yourself boarded on the ferry.